Yes, it is cold out here this morning. Just 35, 36 degrees here at the school. I thought I would just give you a little bit of a panorama around the backside of the school. Namo myoho renge kyo. There's one of the big windows. Namo myoho renge kyo. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your practice. Thought I'd give you a little glimpse of the morning here as I walked out to the school, the Kwoon. 36 degrees. Who'd have thought it'd be this cold in Mississippi, the South? Just wanted to do a brief video today. We're getting to the end of the year. A lot of our thoughts are turning to what the heck have we accomplished this year? What do we need yet to accomplish? And I think as this bears on our practice, and as I'm always reminding you how grateful I am for your efforts, this practice, Buddhism, in some ways it's effortless, in other ways it's not easy at all, is it? And sometimes we ask ourselves, don't we? If you're anything like me, and over the last, several decades, there's always a moment when, as I'm struggling through whatever, especially when I'm sitting in front of my Butsudan and I'm chanting and the thought goes through my head, what am I doing? What is it I'm actually trying to... If I'm changing something, then what does that change look like? How can I, right? Just with our mind of identification, identify our Buddha-ness. How do we do it? What is it that we're trying to do? What evidence is there in our lives? And I think if we're honest with ourselves, of course, we're constantly confronted with the evidence, but it bears a conversation. And so I wanted to do something as I want to do. It seems like one of my predominant karmic energies that I like to gather as much evidence as I can and then whittle it down to just a morsel that, yes, you can investigate every aspect of it more deeply, but if you just have this small little framework to work with, that for me, it's kind of comforting. It says, all right, I remember now. I know what I'm doing. I posted it on the website, so I guess this is my first effort at trying to do this. Boom. So, on the Threefold Lotus Kwoon, or the threefoldlotus.com website, you'll go to the home /home.htm page, or the link on the very first page of the site that says Core Study Materials. And this is the top of the page I'm showing you here, and you'll see that there's a new, the goal of Buddhism here. And if you click on that, you'll then go to another page, and this is kind of the theme. And don't get upset with me, it's my generation. It's more than my generation, but John Lennon, boy, this was quite a Buddhist thought he put out into the world. Imagine there's no heaven, it's easy if you try, no hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. That's a powerful statement. And as a Buddhist and related to our Buddhist practice, well, I'm reminded that we go from, here's words again, right? But there's kind of a circular thing that happens in Buddhist thought. Understanding quiescence, energy, potential, phase changes, which we'll get into more in a moment, formations, instantiations, decay, dissolution, and back to quiescence. This is, in a way, a modern, if you will, word substitution for the nidana. This is what Buddhism has been saying all along, right? And that takes us to the next little slide that I made here. Realize, even as I put these words together, we think, humans, we think linearly. One thing takes place, then another thing takes place, then another thing takes place, then another thing takes place. This plus this equals that, equals this, equals that. This is samsara. This is the way we assemble our experience, right? And it is in that assembly where we make all of these entanglements. So Buddhism says the quiescence, it's been here all along. So once again, from quiescence to phase change, where these energies express tendencies, whatever perturbation or agitation results in energies being moved, then formations come from that, and from formations obviously come form. And the forms are instantiating into amalgams of those tendencies and conditions. And this all happens in an instant, yes? And enduring, as they've instantiated, they endure for some time as they're decaying and finally dissolve and return into quiescence. Well, that's what that earlier diagram was about. This is the engine of life, yes? And that engine, what Shakyamuni realized, is that quiescence from which everything instantiates, it doesn't disappear. See, in linear thinking, we think, well, 2 plus 1 equals 3. Now we have 3, so 2 plus 1 is gone now. We don't need that. But that's not the nature of the universe. The 2 and the plus sign and the 1 and the equal sign, they all continue to exist. Right, and that makes sense logically. We wouldn't be able to add 2 plus 3 if 2 disappeared and plus disappeared and equals disappeared. Right? So they're still there. We're just not paying attention to it. Seems oversimplification, but truly, pay attention to how the mind works. Quiescent is always present as it is within the very structures we identify as separate and unique. There's where the illusion gets constructed, yeah? This mechanism of identification is what creates for us the illusion of ownership and identity. Because if we got this from that, then this that we got, this result, this is something we own. This is the fallacy of the ego. Do you see? Because this is really a momentary and ephemeral process. Ephemeral, what does ephemeral mean? Of the mind only. Haven't we been reading that in the Lankavatara and in the Diamond and really in every sutra? We strive and crave to hang on to what we identify as the very definition of our being. Right? You can see this is just a synopsis of thoughts we've culled from our study of the sutras. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what we're doing all the time, just like this video, right? Or podcast. So the next step is to witness this dharma of energies, or drama, sorry. Drama, dharma, pretty similar. Of energies instantiating and dissolving without identification is to be without the vicissitudes and the entanglements of the attachments. This is the experience of quiescence in the Buddha mind. So what does that look like? What is that Buddha mind? We're always talking about it, right? What is awakening, enlightenment? What is the observer? What is the witness of the process? Divorced of the attachments, but not divorced of the process. It's not nihilistic. We don't get rid of everything. We simply detach our identity, our ego from it. Now it's free to be all that it is, not just the parameters that suits our identification of self. That's very important. How do we use that? How does that state of mind integrate into our lives? Probably the most important questions we don't even know how to ask, right? So here's a few bullet points to keep in mind. With that kind of understanding, we see that the illusions of self and identity constructed of craving are constructed. They're a delusion created by the mind, imagination. And they end with the death of this body. When this body is no longer here, when this body is no longer perceiving, witnessing, part of the drama of the whole momentum of life. When this body, this apparatus ceases, and we all are going to cease, well, then there's no emergent mind to witness. That's a very powerful thing to realize because, like the song, like John Lennon said, imagine there's no heaven, no hell. Above us, just sky and eternity and time. And when we cease to be an apparatus of witnessing, the ego, Sylvain, Bob, Ted, Alice, Betty, Mohammed, Manohara, whatever your name, Tokumitsu, with great respect, I tell you, the same thing Shakyamuni was trying to impress on everyone he met. To conjure the idea of an eternal soul, it's utter. We can't even talk. It's such utter infantile craving to be. It's sad, really. There is no such a thing as a soul or a permanent anything. What is glorious, what is amazing, and what you're missing while you're adhering to this fantasy is what's happening right now. Be a part, don't just be a part of life, be a part that is within all of life. Be carried in the stream, in the momentum of you-ness for the brief time you have. Experience it completely. Right? Stop compartmentalizing to try to identify a self that's this little experience the entirety of life. It's all here for you while you're a sentient mind. When this body's gone, the sentient mind is gone. Other sentient minds will be witnessing, but not yours, because that identification is false. That's why our minds are an emergent property of that bodily apparatus, providing for us a unique opportunity to observe the very process from which all phenomena are temporarily formed or instantiated in a process that is ultimately temporary itself. Yes, the universe began and will end. It is also impermanent. Let that sink in. This opportunity, your life right now, your witnessing is as precious as it is fleeting, and not to be wasted on distractions. Buddhism is constantly saying this. the more we can awaken those other sentient minds around us, the larger our consciousness of awakening can nurture amazement and equanimity in our moment-to-moment existence. That is the Bodhisattva path. That is the reason we practice. Once again, these beautiful words. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It's not hard to do. Imagine the entire world. Nothing to kill or die for. And no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. That's such a huge, huge statement. And yet, it should be so simple. It's blindingly obvious. But for some, it isn't so obvious. For many, it's not even a possibility in their minds. That's why the Bodhisattva life is so critical to our own happiness, experience, fulfilled life. Namo Myo Renge Kyo. That's all I wanted to share with you today. Just kind of a shorthand to remind you of what we're all working so hard to realize for ourselves, for the world around us, for everything. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of that. This year we've grown our Sangha. We're continuing to grow. Like, subscribe. It's incredibly important to the algorithm to continue to grow this Sangha so that we can spread this message of life as precious in each and every moment, living it fully to our maximal potential, right? With that, I'll let you go. And I need to get back to work to figure out what the next sutra is that I will study along with you. Maybe one I studied many years ago, we need to reinvestigate. If you have any ideas on that or suggestions, I'd love to hear it. Namo Myo Renge Kyo. Use the comments to make your suggestions. Again, with great appreciation. Thank you. Thank you for your practice. Thank you for your support. Patrons, you guys are amazing. And I will see you in the next one. All right? Bye for now.